This is very exciting here. We have a genuine hero on with us, Francis Zuber. We were talking about him yesterday.
Zubs.
He is the skier. Thank you, Stugotz.
You got it.
The heroic skier who, in the viral video, noticed something off to his left, and it turned out to be a man who was stuck in the snow. I think it's a man. It sounded like a man stuck in the snow that he was saving, and I just can't believe any of what I saw. So Francis is with us now, and Amin has on a whiteboard 5 different ways that a person, any kind of person, and he's taking bets on this in the studio, can respond to being called a hero, being called a hero publicly. I don't know what the odds-on favorite is. They have not shared with me what his response might be and what they're betting on. What can you tell both Francis, Amin, and the audience before we get to him about what the betting odds are looking like without giving away what his response might be?
We've got an even money. We've got a minus 1,000. We've got a minus 500. We've got a plus 10,000. And we got a minus 250.
Great. Not at all confused.
There are only 5 ways to respond. When someone says and claims you're a hero, there are only one of 5 ways to respond. And so we have all 5 of them. And we think, at least I put my bet in, and I think Billy did as well. I know Amin has. And so we're interested to see how he responds because there are only 5 ways.
All right.
Cool. Way less confused
We'll
now.
do that. We'll do that at the end. Thank you guys for bringing this kind of life to the beginning of the segment. This is what happens when the both of you get involved with something. Both of you go sit in the penalty box.
No,
I'll do it at the end.
Dan kind of asked for it.
I'll do it at the end. It's my fault. I asked for it because Amin wanted to do it. And go, both of you, sit outside.
No, they would make it so much worse.
This has to be really confusing for our guests.
Francis,
Francis, you're a hero.
you are a hero.
Francis knows what we're talking about.
Francis,
Thank you. That's really kind of you guys to say. Well, I guess I should put the bet to rest immediately, right? Do you want to do
no,
that
I want it at the end. No, at the end, and Amin Stugotz out.
No, then it's unnatural.
And
Dan, you're doing this all wrong.
Yeah.
Hey, Francis, what do you say to people that say you're a hero?
I tell them thank you. I do really appreciate it. It's very kind of them to say. I just think that anybody in that situation would have done the same thing.
Money. Have fun, Dan.
Asking dumb questions.
I want money.
Is that the favorite cashes? Favorite
the
cashes.
favorite.
Minus 1,000. We laid a lot of vig.
This is, I believe, the first national and international interview this hero has done. Francis, even though you think everybody would have done the same thing, a whole lot of people would have just kept on skiing. So tell us what you saw out of the left side of your eye. Set the scene for us on, you were just going skiing with a GoPro, correct?
Yes, correct. Yeah. I mean, that day I was there, originally I was there solo and met up with a buddy, and since there were 2 of us, we decided to go into the backcountry. We all had the gear with us and all that stuff, and it was really, I think, my first or second time in that zone, in that particular area there. My buddy that I was with knew it, so I felt comfortable being there with him, and we took off skiing through the trees there, as you see, and I was going a little quicker than I would have liked. Like I said, unfamiliar with the area, so I just kind of turn off to the side there and dump all my speed and sort of reset. And when I go through that second opening of trees there, I just caught that little glimmer of red out of the corner of my eye. And I knew it was weird because, we're out of bounds. Ski Patrol wouldn't mark anything there or anything like that. So it made me stop and take a second look. And yeah, that's where I saw Ian, is his name, saw a snowboard sticking out of the snow, and I saw that it was moving. So I knew not only, there's definitely somebody attached to it, but they are alive, and I don't know how long they've been there for. And if you take an avalanche safety course, they tell you that you only have 15 minutes in the snow immersed like that before you'll suffocate and die. So I knew I needed to get them immediately.
So take me through, you see a snowboard, it is red. It took you a minute to get over there. It seems like it would be hard to get over there. How long was Ian under that snow, and what happened? Did you have any indication that it would be even possible that snow would fall that much on somebody nearby?
Yeah, I mean, we've been trying to figure out how long he's in the snow for. I'm sure it was a lifetime for him, being, in the pitch black like that. You can't hear anything. You can't see anything. You're running out of air. So it's hard to say for sure, but probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 to 7 minutes, which is more than enough time to, have an absolutely terrifying experience and think you're going to die. But, yeah, I mean, pretty much, tree wells are kind of the silent killer. This is actually something that happens all the time in the backcountry and in deep snow. So I certainly knew it was possible for something like that to happen. I've heard of it, and I've seen rescue demonstrations and stuff like that. And I was really just in shock that this was happening, to me in that moment, like, oh my God, I am here. This person is in a tree well over there. I need to get to them. There was certainly a moment of shock. And then I knew that I needed to act immediately when I shouted up to him, and he didn't answer, because like I said, I didn't know how long he'd been there for.
Do you know how the snow happened to him that way? Is that something that could have happened to you nearby?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that could really happen to anybody. Those tree wells kind of around the base of the tree there is much softer than the rest of the snow on the slope. It's kind of like quicksand almost. And if you sort of fall into it, you just kind of keep falling down because it hasn't condensed like all the rest of the snow. So, and our base here at Mount Baker, we get to, maybe 15, 20 feet of snow depth throughout the season. So, if he didn't have a snowboard on, he could have just kind of essentially fallen through to the bottom, and just disappeared basically into the snow. It's a horrifying thing.
So the snowboard and the foot attached to the snowboard is the thing that saved his life, because otherwise he's being held up by the weight of the snowboard barely above the snow?
I can't say that for certain. I mean, the more you struggle in those tree wells, the more you sort of sink down into them. It's kind of like quicksand as well, just to sort of, give another nightmare analogy. So yeah, I mean, if he had gone into that thing head first without a snowboard on and was sort of just wiggling sort of through it, yeah, I mean, it's totally possible he could have completely disappeared into it and, never been found till the spring in theory. But yeah, I mean, usually the most common thing you'll see with somebody stuck in a tree well is exactly what you see in the video there, where it's somebody sort of face first in the snow, just their skis or their snowboard sticking out.
Could you hear his screaming?
No, you can't. When you're in a tree well like that, you can't hear anything. I mean, if he had been yelling, I wouldn't have been able to hear him. It's also just kind of like being encased in concrete as well, because once you move around in the snow, it sort of condenses around you, and then you can't move at all. I mean, he had a radio with him, a walkie-talkie, and he could hear his ski buddies that he was with radioing to him, asking where he was, and he couldn't move his hand to reply.
Oh my God. So this is horrifying for a number of different reasons, obviously, but yeah. you, when you see the initial flash of color, did any of you think, I'll just keep going? Like, that's nothing. That can't be what I think it is.
Yeah, I don't think it did. It's kind of hard to remember it specifically, but it was enough to just make me stop and, say, wait, what was that? Like, I knew something was weird about it. And yeah, it was just enough that I needed to stop and take a second look. And yeah, once I saw the snowboard upside down like that, there was no chance of me continuing on. I couldn't leave somebody stuck like that.
But when did you notice that the snowboard was moving, or that this was a really panicked, important few minutes you have, because you don't know how long this person has been under there in a uniquely horrifying position?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty immediate that, I recognized that the snowboard was moving. You can see if you look closely, like right when I look uphill, you see it kind of moving back and forth. So I could see that pretty clearly from my perspective, obviously indicating that he was conscious still, he was alive, under the snow like that.
Any point when you start digging, are you saying, I'm not going to get here in time? This might not happen quickly enough. I have to assemble a shovel. This is all very hard to do.
Right. Yeah. Oh, there was definitely that moment. When I really, not so much when I was digging for his airway there, but when I was getting to him, the process of going uphill in snow that deep. I don't know if you were, maybe some of your listeners have had to do that before. I've certainly had to do it, just kind of like maybe going down a run I didn't mean to and having to back out of it. It is exhausting. And, when there is that urgency like that, it is absolutely terrifying, because the snow that week, I think it had snowed somewhere in the neighborhood of 4 feet of this, low density, really light snow. And we're in the backcountry, so it's even deeper out there. There's pretty much no bottom to it. And, you hear me start cursing when I step out of my skis, because I sort of just sunk into the snow, and I thought I had just really messed up the whole thing and that I wasn't going to be able to get to him in time. So that was really the scariest part. And then once I managed to get to him, and he was still moving. I knew that he was going to be okay, and that within the next minute or so, I'd be able to dig him out.
Did you talk to him at all? Because it sounds like you would have some curiosities, but you don't know how long he was in there. You didn't dare to ask because of how you were protecting the person's privacy, Ian's privacy?
Yeah, I mean, I initially didn't share the video, kind of like for that reason, and also, we didn't really know what we wanted to sort of get out of the video. We kind of decided that it's a good thing to share to make people aware of, the dangers of deep snow and tree wells and stuff like that. But I mean, yeah, once I pulled him out, we definitely like chatted for a little bit and debriefed. First thing I did when I got him out of the snow was I gave him a big hug and, just said, I'm glad you're okay. And he thanked me for stopping for one thing. And then, said that you saved a life today.
How emotional was he?
He was, a lot of people said pretty calm. And I actually said the same thing to him when I pulled him out. I think he might have been a little bit in shock. Just a minute ago, he thought that he was about to die. He was just kind of waiting to die. And then next thing you know, somebody's taking him out of the snow. So I think he was a bit in shock, but he's also a very experienced snowboarder, who has been, partially buried before and had to dig partners out. I mean, nothing to this level of severity, but he's been in a similar situation before. So it wasn't, the most unfamiliar thing to have to deal with.
From the physics of it, though, he's totally upside down, correct? He's head first.
Oh, yeah.
It's the length of his body. The only thing that's out of the snow is a single foot, but the rest of him is upside down. And he knows he's upside down? Like does he even know which way to dig?
Yeah, I mean, he knew he was upside down. He knew he was, in a really bad situation. He didn't realize how bad it was, because when you're stuck in a tree well, really what you're supposed to do is remain as still as possible and try to slow your breathing down and save that precious air that you have. And if you have an air pocket, especially try not to move, because that can really increase the survival time that you have underneath the snow. But I mean, when you're sitting there for a couple minutes and you think that your buddies are going to come dig you out, and then all of a sudden you hear them on the radio asking where you are, that's going to certainly induce some panic and make you try to move around and get out in your own accord. And he tried to do that, and he sort of, eliminated the little bit of air that he had there, and kind of made things like possibly worse for himself, which, I mean, anybody would do in that situation. Absolutely terrifying and panic inducing. So, and then after like struggling for a minute, which I think is where I saw him initially, he was just kind of remaining still, again, trying to slow his breathing down and just, waiting and hoping. And then that's pretty much where I showed up.
When you get over there, and I understand there isn't a lot of thought in here, you're just reacting, but once you start with the digging or disassembling things, if I ask you from the position you're in now, how long do you think this is going to take for you to dig to get to his face, to get to his mouth? Your response, if you had been clear and not thinking, would have been what to me?
That's a good question. I mean, the process of digging to him once I was there, I would expect to be about a minute and a half, which I think is what it was. I really thought the whole video was way longer than it really was. I thought I had been struggling to get to him and digging for, somewhere between like 5 and 10 minutes. I couldn't believe when it was only 2.5 minutes. But yeah, I think, the process of actually digging someone out usually is about a minute and a half or so, unless they're buried in an avalanche or something like that way down there, which that could be longer.
Was there any worry like this isn't the right angle, then you put some snow back on and did it again so you got the clean video?
Good question.
It's hilarious. I've seen as this has sort of gone viral and gone to every corner of the internet, some of my friends have been sending me their favorite comments that they've seen on various reels or whatever. And, I've seen people say that this is staged or whatnot. And man, I couldn't imagine drawing the short straw and being the guy who has to go in the snow if we were to stage it.
Yeah, because it seems totally terrifying. Does Ian give you a gift or anything? Is it just a hearty hug and a thank you, or maybe
better?
Ian is the man. No, Ian is the man. He's been extremely gracious through this whole thing. He's taken my wife and I out to dinner and to beers and stuff like that. And this past Saturday we went skiing together at Baker, and he's born and raised here. He's a local and an absolute ripper. So. He showed me around to all his favorite spots, all the secret stashes that I would have never found on my own. So yeah, I'm super grateful to him as well. He's been nothing but great throughout this whole thing.
salute to you, brother, but that is not enough.
Not enough.
You need a
Yeah.
first name
You saved his
child.
life.
You
Yeah.
need Christmas gifts for life.
A shovel endorsement,
Rosh
maybe?
Hashanah,
Yeah.
whatever.
The Zuber shuffle. Yeah.
A shuffle endorsement is good.
The Zuber I'm telling you, there is an idea here where we name it after you, your last name, the Zuber, and 80-20 my way. You good?
Hey, that sounds good. If you guys make it, and I'm down to endorse it.
Well, I'm not going to make it.
Excellent work by you, Stugotz, trying to get a business opportunity out of this. You made some money already by correctly cashing the bet. What were the other hero options on what he could have responded?
All right. We had just doing what anyone else would do.
That's the one we already covered.
No, the one we already covered was doing what I hope someone would do for me.
Sound very similar.
They're different. One of them is I do what anyone else would do in this situation. The other one is kind of reciprocal. I do what I hope someone would do for me. Yeah.
We're getting caught in the snow here.
There's I'm no hero. There's I didn't think, I just reacted.
That's a good one.
And then this one was running at plus 10,000. You bet your ass I'm a hero.
Francis, let's do it. Let's cash that bet at the end here.
You're a hero,
you
Francis.
bet your ass I'm a hero. Thank you, Francis.
I can't say it, but thank you guys. I'll let you say it. I appreciate it very much.
The Zuber shovel coming to you from Stugotz and Francis Zuber.
You guys keep saying the shuffle like it's a little dance. Like
I know.
Shovel.
Yes, it is.
The Zuber shuffle.
Thank you, Francis.
It's catchy, actually.
Hey, thank you guys. Appreciate it. You guys have a good one.